As a doctor, I review a lot of health research, and one thing that always stands out is how often people overlook the simple solutions. For example, one study showed that participants lost an average of 7 pounds in just a few weeks, not through extreme diets or hours of cardio, but by making one small daily change. Now, here's the important part. It's not that 7 pounds is life-changing on its own. But when you repeat those small, smart changes consistently, the results add up. That's how you go from losing a few pounds to losing 30 pounds or more, and doing it in a healthy, sustainable way. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you step by step through the exact science-backed strategies I use with my own patients to help them shed fat, without fad diets, without punishing workouts, and without sacrificing their lifestyle. If your goal is to lose 30 pounds of fat by the end of this year, here's the proven plan to make it happen. Number 1. Cut out alcohol. When you drink, your body has to process the alcohol first, which throws your fat burning on the back burner. But it doesn't stop there. It creates what I like to call a downward spiral. You have a few drinks, your late-night food choices get worse. Your sleep quality takes a hit, and the next morning you wake up tired with less willpower. That lack of energy makes it even harder to stay consistent with healthy eating, and the cycle just repeats. Now, does this mean you can never touch alcohol again? Not at all. But if your goal is to lose 30 pounds of fat by the end of the year, you want to give your body every advantage possible. That means, at least for the fat loss phase, cutting out alcohol completely. Once you've hit your goal, you can reintroduce it in moderation, but right now, removing it is one of the smartest, simplest moves you can make. Step 2. Calculate your calories. To lose fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit, meaning you eat fewer calories than your body burns. A simple way to figure out how much you should eat is to multiply your body weight by 12. That number becomes your daily calorie target. For example, if you weigh 180 pounds, 180 times 12 equals 2,160 calories per day. Now, if you want to speed things up a bit or if you have more fat to lose, you can be a little more aggressive and multiply your body weight by 11 instead. This will put you in a slightly larger deficit, helping the fat come off faster. But don't go lower than that, because extreme calorie cuts are tough to sustain and can backfire by slowing down your metabolism. Step 3. Prioritize protein. Once you know your calories, the next step is to make sure you're eating enough protein. A good rule of thumb is to multiply your body weight by 0.8. That number is the minimum grams of protein you should eat each day to protect your muscle while you're losing fat. For example, if you weigh 180 pounds, that would be around 145 grams of protein daily. But here's the thing. Hitting just the minimum is fine, but going a little higher is even better. If you can work your way up to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, you'll give yourself the best chance of not just maintaining muscle, but maybe even building some while you're in a calorie deficit. Why does this matter so much? Because one of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to lose weight is focusing only on the scale and ignoring muscle. If you don't protect your muscle, you end up losing both fat and muscle, which slows your metabolism and leaves you looking skinny fat instead of lean and toned. Protein is the key to preventing that. On top of that, protein is extremely filling. It keeps you satisfied longer, reduces cravings, and makes sticking to your calorie goal so much easier. Now, for a lot of people, eating this much protein can feel like a huge adjustment. That's normal. My advice is to build it into a routine. Spread it across your meals, include protein-rich snacks, and make it a daily habit. Over time, it becomes second nature. Step 4. Focus only on calories and protein. This might sound unusual because most fitness experts like to make things complicated, but here's the truth. The easiest way to stay consistent is to focus on just 2 numbers, your daily calories and your protein intake. Why? Because your body doesn't really care if the rest of your calories come more from carbs or fats. Both can work. What truly matters for fat loss is keeping your overall calories in check and getting enough protein to protect your muscle as the fat comes off. I've seen too many people get stuck trying to perfectly balance carbs, fats, protein, and calories all at once. It usually leads to overwhelm, second-guessing, and eventually throwing in the towel. But when you simplify things and only track calories and protein, the process becomes so much easier, and you're far more likely to stick with it long-term. For example, one of my clients, Sarah, used to spend hours stressing over her exact carb and fat ratios. She was frustrated and felt like she was failing if her numbers didn't line up perfectly. Once I told her to just hit her calorie goal and make sure her protein was on point, everything changed. She stopped obsessing, stayed consistent, and within 3 months she had lost 18 pounds, without the constant stress. So remember, when in doubt, keep it simple. Track your calories, track your protein, and let everything else fall into place naturally. Step 5. Set up the right meal schedule. One of the most overlooked parts of fat loss is when you eat, not just what you eat. That's why I always recommend setting a meal schedule that works with your body instead of against it. Here's how I like to do it. Start by setting your last meal of the day. Ideally, you want to finish eating at least 3 to 5 hours before going to bed. The reason is simple: when you go to sleep, your body is supposed to be in a rest and repair mode. If you're still digesting a heavy meal, it interferes with your sleep quality. But when you give your body enough time before bed, your sleep improves dramatically. Better sleep means more energy, better mood, and more willpower the next day, all of which help you stay on track with fat loss. Once you've locked in your evening cutoff, go back to the start of your day and set your first meal. I recommend waiting at least 1 to 2 hours after waking up before eating. Jumping straight into food the moment you open your eyes often leads to bigger cravings and worse food decisions later in the day. By giving your body that short window, you help regulate your appetite, balance your energy, and reduce the late-night snacking urge. And here's another key point. Make sure your first meal has a solid dose of protein. Doing this helps signal to your body that it's time to be awake and active, while also putting you in an anabolic state right from the start of the day. From both a metabolic and circadian rhythm perspective, this sets the tone for better energy, better focus, and better fat loss results. For example, one of my clients, Jason, used to eat a huge dinner right before bed and skip breakfast completely. He'd wake up sluggish, crash in the afternoon, and snack late into the night. When we adjusted his schedule, finishing dinner 3 hours before sleep and adding a high-protein breakfast a little after waking, his energy completely turned around. He stopped late-night snacking, slept better, and within 6 weeks he dropped 12 pounds without changing a single thing about his workouts. So instead of skipping breakfast or eating too close to bedtime, structure your meals around your sleep. You'll notice a huge difference in your energy, mood, and consistency, and that's what drives fat loss success. Step 6. Use water to control hunger. One of the most underrated fat loss tools isn't a fancy supplement or a new diet trick, it's simply water. And if you use it the right way, it can make sticking to your calorie goal so much easier. Here's the system I recommend. Start your day by drinking about 500 milliliters of water as soon as you wake up. This not only hydrates you after hours of sleep but also helps curb early morning cravings. Then, throughout the day, drink water between your meals to keep your hunger under control. If you really want to boost fullness during meals, here's another tip. Drink a glass of water right before you eat and another glass afterward. It creates a natural sense of fullness, which helps prevent overeating without you even realizing it. Now, you might have heard the old myth that drinking water before or after meals ruins digestion, or prevents your body from absorbing nutrients properly. But research has shown this simply isn't true. Drinking water around meals has no negative effect on digestion. In fact, it supports it by helping food move smoothly through your system. So don't let those old wives' tales hold you back. To give you a real example, one of my clients, Amanda, used to snack constantly in the afternoon and couldn't figure out why she always felt so hungry. When I asked her how much water she was drinking, the answer was barely any. We introduced this simple system: hydrating in the morning, sipping water between meals, and adding a glass before and after each meal. Within 2 weeks, her afternoon cravings dropped dramatically, and she was finally able to stick to her calorie goal without feeling miserable. So before you look for complicated hacks, start with the simplest one. Use water as your secret weapon to manage hunger and make fat loss easier. Step 7. Strength training 3 times per week. Step 7 is committing to 3 strength training sessions each week, making sure to leave at least 1 day of rest between workouts. This gives your muscles time to recover and grow stronger. Here's a simple workout plan you can follow. Feel free to pause this video and note it down. I won't break down every single exercise here since they're fairly straightforward, but there are a couple of key points you need to remember. Rest at least 3 minutes between your big compound lifts, like squats or bench press. Rest about 2 minutes between your smaller isolation exercises, like bicep curls or tricep pushdowns. And here's the most important part. Every time you step into the gym, aim to push yourself just a little bit more, Either add about 5 pounds to the bar or try to squeeze out an extra rep. This gradual increase is called progressive overload, and it's the key to building muscle while still burning fat. Step 8. Build the right sleep environment. Step 8 is all about setting yourself up for quality rest by creating the perfect sleep environment, what I like to call your sleep sanctuary. The truth is, your environment acts like an invisible hand that shapes your behaviors. If your bedroom is designed to support rest, falling asleep and staying asleep becomes effortless. Here are a few practical tips to transform your space. Keep your room cool. A slightly lower temperature signals to your body that it's time to wind down. Use mouth tape if you're a mouth breather. It helps improve oxygen flow and sleep quality. Block out light with blackout curtains or a comfortable sleep mask. By making small adjustments like these, you're giving yourself the best chance to recharge fully every night. So there you have it. If you want to lose 30 pounds of fat, these are the exact steps you need to follow. Notice that nothing here is extreme. It's not about starving yourself or spending hours every day at the gym. It's about building simple, sustainable habits, dialing in your calories and protein, setting the right meal schedule, staying hydrated, training consistently, and making sure you recover with good sleep. If you stick with these strategies, not only will the fat come off, but you'll also feel stronger, have more energy, and actually enjoy the process instead of dreading it. Remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. Now I want to hear from you. Right finger, which of these steps are you going to start with today? Drop it in the comments, because taking action starts with just one change. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos.